And good day, everybody. This is Michelle Collier, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Inquirer Show. Very excited that you're joining us today on December 11th, 2019. Heading towards the end of the 2019 calendar year, which means a lot of sports are crossing over. College football is headed towards its end. College basketball is in its beginnings. And we also have the NFL, which is heading towards the playoffs as well. And it's a holiday season. Hope all of you had a good Thanksgiving and are enjoying a good December, whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Christmas, all in the month of December, or whatever your religious affiliation is, or if you don't have one. I hope you're having a good time as we head towards 2019, head to end of 2019 and into 2020. Today's show is pretty basic. We have two topics of discussion. We will first go into the NFL and review the past week of action, which was week 15 or week 14. We're heading into week 15. So we'll do that in the NFL Blitz. And we'll delve into Georgia athletics or college athletics in the Peach State as we break down the college football from Georgia Tech and Georgia State and Georgia college football playoffs, and also delve a little bit into Georgia Tech volleyball and Georgia State men's basketball. But as always, if you want to follow everything that we're doing on our site, go to the site itself, which is thesportsinquirer.net. Head to the mothership. You'll see a lot of our archived videos and pressers of different content from Georgia State football, as we mentioned, to Georgia Tech volleyball. We also have been able to go to some Atlanta Hawks practices. We're recording this right now, as I said, on the 11th. After we finish recording, we're headed to the College Park and see the Skyhawks play the NBA G League affiliate of the Atlanta Hawks. So we'll have content from that game. They play the Capital City Go-Go's, so we're looking forward to covering that contest. Also, go to us on Twitter and Instagram under Sports Inquirer, all one word. You go on there, subscribe to us, and you'll be able to get everything that we do. Every time we put something on the site, it correlates right into those social media platforms. And another one platform that we do is Facebook. You go to our two pages, The Sports Inquirer or Sports Inquirer. Go to either one of those. That'll be a great way to check out everything that we're doing there. And finally, if you want to get all of our different shows, from Sports Inquirer Show that you're listening to now, to Verbal Submission, which is our combat sport podcast. We also do different podcasts. We're going to launch that technical state of Georgia State athletics eventually. Hopefully we could do it maybe within the next 48 hours, but that would focus more depth or more deeply into everything in Georgia college sports. So we have that going on. Beanball will be returning pretty soon with the MLB free agency. We'll touch on that on our next Sports Inquirer Show. But yeah, we'll talk about Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg, all of the major moves in the world of Major League Baseball. We have a podcast dedicated to that. And also we have the stagger screen or backdoor cut, whichever way we feel calling it, where we talk about the NBA. And we have a podcast on that as well. So make sure you head to our platforms. That's on YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes. And you'll be able to get all of our Sports Inquirer related podcasts. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to review Week 14 of the NFL season here on Sports Inquirer Show. All right, welcome back to the Sports Inquirer Show. Michelle Collier here with you, recording our show on December 11th, 2019. Let's go to the NFL Blitz, where we talk about everything going on in the world of the NFL. I think I'll just go over each of the games of interest that took place in this past week, and I think through there we'll touch on everything that we need to. Chicago was able to defeat Dallas 31-24, and the only thing about that contest is that it keeps the Bears in striking range of getting into the wild card, and also the Dallas Cowboys keeps them in, well, even with that loss, keeps them in contention for the NFC East. I think what you see from this contest is that both of these teams are not going to do much in the playoffs if either one makes it. Bad part is for Dallas and for Philadelphia, which when we'll get to that contest, well, we'll talk about NFC East right now. You look at that division, I think 8 wins may actually win it. And not only is that, whoever wins it will have a 500 record, potentially a below 500 record if things really shake out. But I don't think that's going to happen because both those teams have Washington and the Giants on their schedule, and those should be victories. So I think in the end, you'll see one of those teams with at least an 8-8 record, and they face each other in Week 16, 2 weeks from now. But still, one of those teams is going to host a playoff game. And it may be the greatest discrepancy of a team, a team with a worse record hosting a playoff game. I don't know what the math is on it, but let's say Dallas or Philadelphia wins 8 contests. You could possibly have a 12-win Minnesota team or even Seattle or San Francisco going to Dallas or Philadelphia, a 4-win difference, and them hosting the game. I personally don't like that. I don't mind what I think it should be. I don't believe in reseeding. Because I think there is value in winning your division, but I think if they're a team with the higher record, should host a game. So, if say it's Minnesota as the wild card team, and they play Dallas, Dallas still gets to make the postseason, even if numerically they did not have one of the best 6 records in the NFC. But that game will be in Minnesota. So Dallas does get rewarded for winning the division, but they don't get to host the contest. So when I saw that the Chicago and Dallas matchup, and I was like, man, this is really going to be, and watching the Eagles as well beat the Giants, I'm like, this is not a good look as far as that goes. So I think that rule should be changed. There were some really good games though in the week. Buffalo fell at Baltimore, or fell at home to Baltimore, 24-17. Lamar Jackson had 3 TD passes and 1 interception. He finally surpassed the 1,000 rushing yard mark for the season, so he joins Michael Vick as the only guys in NFL history to rush a quarterback to rush for more than 1,000 yards. I think it was a really good performance for him, and he tweaked his hamstring, and I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow on the 12th against the Jets. I personally would sit him out. I would not play him against the New York Jets because the Ravens have Super Bowl aspirations, and while Jackson's legs while his throwing has improved, and that's with 3 TD passes, and I think him getting hurt forced him to throw the ball more, and that really showed in that Buffalo contest. His legs are such a valuable asset to everything that he does, so any way you can avoid tweaking that even more, you have to sit him out with a short week, especially when you consider that after Thursday he's going to get 10 days off before the next contest, and you're pushing for home field advantage. And you could beat the Jets without Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson, to me, is the MVP of the league as of now. He's the most valuable asset to a winning franchise, which is what he's been doing that right now. But I don't think you need him on the field to beat a team like the Jets, who are going through their own issues with Le'Veon Bell deciding to go bowling after calling in sick with the flu. Bad look for him. But I also like Buffalo in this contest. I don't think they're going to catch New England. I know New England's having their struggles, and they lost to Kansas City, and then we'll get to that contest next. But I think Buffalo is still going to be a wild card team and be a very tough out. Whoever has to host them is most likely going to be either the AFC South winner or possibly Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City, they do have the advantage over New England if it gets to that point as far as tiebreaker, but I think Buffalo is showing themselves to be a tough out. And speaking of the Chiefs, they were able to win at New England 23-16, and combined with Oakland's loss to Tennessee, the Chiefs are now the AFC West champions for the 4th consecutive season. There's another contest. I thought Kansas City left several points on the board, but more importantly, I don't want to throw dirt on the Patriots dynasty and their 6 championships in a 15-year span, I want to say, is what it's ended up evening out to. Maybe the best run in history of the NFL, which is 100 years old, which we keep hearing about every single day, which is fine. And which is a century mark at any league is tremendous. But you look at their struggles offensively. No Gronkowski. I think Edelman has taken a step back. They had Antonio Brown for 1 game. He's not in the league right now for his malfeasance. You add all that together, and Brady, who I think has regressed quite a bit. He's still a quality quarterback, but he's not playing like the all-time greatest, the MVPs that we've seen throughout his career. And it's understandable. He's 42 years old. And furthermore, their line play is not as strong as it has been in the past few years. In the running game, with White and with Sony Michelle, they're not getting as many yardage opportunities that they've had in the past. So you add all of that together, you have a very pedestrian New England offense. The defense is stout, maybe the best in the NFL. You look at statistically or what they can do. But I think overall, we're seeing New England and them dealing with some issues there. But I think in the end, they'll be able to win the division. They may actually not have a bye. And out of all the years, and New England's been on this run over the past 15 years, having that bye may be the most important thing right now for them. Just because of Brady. His age, I don't want to say he looked old, but I saw that press conference afterwards with the white sweater and the wrap around the elbow. That's something you would not see, not the sweater part, but as far as the wrap on the elbow, very rarely would you ever see him do anything like that earlier in his career. But as I said, he's 42 years old. He's not old in life, but NFL playing years, he's up there. He's a senior citizen. So just keep an eye out for that. But maybe the most impressive performance of all the entire NFL week was San Francisco, who was able to win at New Orleans 48-46. Emmanuel Sanders, a midseason acquisition for the 49ers, 7 receptions, 157 yards, and a touchdown. He also threw a 35-yard TD pass in the victory. So with that distinction of a passing and receiving TD that he also did in Week 7, 2018, when he was with the Broncos, he joins Hall of Famers Walter Payton and Damian Tomlinson, as well as Odell Beckham, as the only guys to do that in multiple games since 1970. So very impressive statistic for him. Now, Drew Brees did throw 5 TD passes and had a rushing TD as well in the loss. So now he has 11 career games. He's thrown at least 5 TDs in a contest, which is the most in NFL history. But I think what you take away from this contest is we know about San Francisco's defense, which has been talked about quite a bit, and I think maybe the best in the NFL, right up there with New England and a few others. But offensively, putting up 48 points, very impressive performance by Garoppolo and the 49ers offense. And you look at that game, it was very critical because the Rams were able to beat Seattle 28-12 or later on that night. So you look at that deal at the NFC West, you can either be the 1 seed or possibly the 5 seed. That's how crazy the breakdown is as far as the playoffs go. You're the number 1 seed, which could be San Francisco or Seattle for that matter. And Seattle does hold the tiebreaker right now over San Francisco. They meet each other in Week 16, 2 weeks from now. But you add up the numbers, you could be, I said, the 1 seed and have a bye, or it could be a 5 seed and end up probably going maybe to a New Orleans or to a Green Bay. And so you have to deal with that. So that was a very big win for the 49ers to get that done. That's the Rams keeping their playoff hopes alive. They're on life support, but they're actually only 1 game behind, I believe, the Vikings for that 6th seed. They're starting to get back to what they were doing last season. I think Jared Goff had a midseason slump. He's kind of worked his way through that. Todd Gurley looked like he was running very well for his standards. The defense was getting pressure on Russell Wilson. Had a lot of sacks against him. Wilson was not able to get comfortable in that contest. So the Rams put together maybe the best performance of the season to date in that victory. Green Bay, very solid win over the Washington, 20-15. Not breaking record numbers for Aaron Rodgers, but very efficient, able to run the ball with Jones and did a good job there. Note from this contest, Adrian Peterson, he is now rushed for 14,036 yards in his career. He also has 109 rushing TDs. So he became the 6th player in NFL history with at least 14,000 rushing yards and 100 rushing TDs. Other ones, Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton. So Adrian Peterson still keeps it going in his 13th year in the NFL. So interesting note in that contest. Minnesota kept pace with they kept pace with the Packers with the 20-7 win over the Lions. Daniil Hunter had 3 sacks in the contest for the Vikings. So he has 50 now for his career. And at 25 years old, he has 52 and a half in his career. And he's the youngest player to reach that mark since 1982, which is when the sack became official. So interesting note from him. No, he doesn't get talked about a lot, but that was a very big moment for him. Let's switch over back to the AFC and look at the South, where Tennessee was able to defeat Oakland 42-21. Ryan Tannehill had 21 completions on 27 attempts for 391 yards and 3 TDs for a 104 passer rating. So he joined Aaron Rodgers as the only player to have a 75% completion rate and a passer rating of 130 or higher in 3 consecutive games in a season. So him and Aaron Rodgers, the only guys to ever do that in a season. Rodgers did it back in 2011. So you add all of those numbers together, and the Titans went from an afterthought to maybe they're one of the more dangerous teams in the AFC. And Tannehill also joined Russell Wilson as the only player with 4 consecutive games with at least 2 passing TDs and a passer rating of 125 or higher in NFL history. Think about Tannehill. I remember when he signed with Tennessee, I was like, if he's healthy, he can start and be productive for the Titans. The biggest knock I had with him in his career is he just could not stay healthy. And when he had that one good year under Gaze or under Nagy that he developed and did some good things, the next season he tore his ACL and had to start back at square one. And then the Dolphins, as we see right now, are a mess of an organization. Now they're doing better with Flores and trying to rebuild there. But so Tannehill he ended up becoming the scapegoat and the representation of the bad that was going on with the Dolphins. That happens a lot with franchises in the NFL. We look at the good and the bads. Let's look at the quarterback. He represents everything that it means. But he's been able to stay healthy so far for the Titans. A major upgrade over Mariota, who himself struggles to stay on the field. And Tannehill's on a walk. He's in a free agent year. He can go anywhere he wants next year, and he's taking full advantage of it. Derrick Henry, too. He deserves a mention as well. Another 100-yard performance. He's maybe become... I know we look at Saquon Barkley, maybe Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook as the best running backs in the NFL, and I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two others. Christian McCaffrey, kept to acknowledge him for the Panthers. But Derrick Henry may be the most traditional north-south running back in the NFL and has been very productive for the Titans, who do keep it simple. It kind of like how Buffalo does. They run the ball well, they defend the run well, they don't turn the ball over, and they just bludgeon you to death. And that's what they try to do. So the Titans kept themselves in the playoff hunt and right in contention for the AFC South because the Houston Texans dropped a major ball this past Sunday at home, losing to the Broncos 38-24, excuse me. Drew Lock, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception, first rookie in the Super Bowl era, passed for at least 300 yards and 3 TDs in his first ever road start. So you allowed him to do something that had not been done in the Super Bowl era, which dates back 50-plus years. You deserve to lose the game. And let's see, Philip Lindsay had 55 yards from scrimmage and a rushing TD. So now he has 1,278 scrimmage yards. Well, he had that last year. Now he has 1,004 scrimmage yards for 2019. So he's the third undrafted rookie to have at least 1,000 scrimmage yards each of the first 2 seasons in the common draft era, and that dates back to the 1960s. So when you allow numbers like that, you deserve to lose. So Tennessee, they actually get Houston twice in the next 3 weeks. You got to take the Titans to keep that momentum going and be the winner of that division. Let's breeze through the rest of these games. Some have playoff implications, some do not. Let's see, Pittsburgh able to defeat Arizona 23-17. Give credit to Mike Tomlin, who's my vote for Coach of the Year right now. I know John Harbaugh is going to get a lot of votes for the Baltimore Ravens, and deservedly so. You might get some votes for Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers and what they've been able to do, and that's respectable too. But when you look at the injuries and things that Steelers have been going through, starting in the offseason, the Antonio Brown release or trade, then Ben Roethlisberger injuring his elbow and out for the season after week 2, down to your third-string quarterback and Duck Hodges, and still finding ways to win games. You got to put Tomlin. I know he's won a Super Bowl in his past, so you can't. Maybe he's not his best coaching job in his career when you win a Super Bowl. But this may be the best he's done with the resources he's had in his entire career. He's done a tremendous job there. Tampa was able to defeat Indianapolis 38-35. Jameis Winston, 456 yards passing, 4 TDs, 3 interceptions. Typical Winston game. And he had a 107.3 passer rating. So he's the third quarterback in NFL history to have at least 450 rushing passing yards, 4 passing TDs, and a rushing TD in a game, joining Hall of Famer Norm Van Brocklin in 1951. And you would never, ever get this. I wouldn't get it either. Billy Volek from Week 15 in 2004. So, interesting mark there for his career. So, right now, he has a career high 4,115 passing yards. And that now means he has 3 years of 4,000 passing yards or more. So, now he joins all future Hall of Famers, or close to, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Dan Marino, and Matthew Stafford as only QBs with 4,000 passing yards or more in 3 of their first 5 years in the NFL. So you look at that mark, very tremendous there. Let's see. Okay, another interesting note. Indy linebacker Darius Leonard, that was his 25th career game, had 2 picks and returned one for a touchdown for 80 yards in the contest. So he has 6. So since 2018, he has 12 sacks and 6 interceptions. And he's the first player to have at least 10 sacks and 5 picks in his first 25 career games since 1982, back when the sack became a number. Cleveland was able to defeat Cincinnati 27-19. Cleveland, and all of the drama that they have there with Baker Mayfield, and we'll touch on this when we get to our preview show next few days. But all the drama he's caused, Beckham now needing a trade, they still may finish with the same amount of wins as they did last year. But it's a prime example of last year was a surprise, because when you go from being winless in one campaign and then one win in the next to winning 6-7 games, wow, marked improvement. They may win 7 games this year, fire everybody. So, but they were still able to win over the hapless Bengals, so you got to acknowledge that. The Falcons got their 3rd win of the season, defeating the Carolina Panthers 40-20. Matt Ryan, 313 passing yards and 2 TDs. He now has more than 50,000 passing yards in his career, and he did it in 186 career game. So he became the second fastest quarterback to reach 50,000 career passing yards, only trailing Drew Brees, who did it in 183 games. So 3 games less than Matt Ryan did to reach that mark. McCaffrey, 135 scrimmage yards. So he now joins Eric Dickerson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Ezekiel Elliott, and Edgerrin James as the only players with at least 1,900 scrimmage yards in 2 of their first 3 seasons in the NFL. And then interesting thing about the Falcons, you got to figure that they may go a different direction. A 3-win campaign, they're probably going to lose to San Francisco this upcoming week. So let's say they end up with 4 or 5 wins. You think that'd be time to move on. But you look at the type of wins that they're getting, divisional wins, they may stick around, Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff. I'll analyze that more on our next show when I do the preview. But yeah, it's very intriguing that the Falcons are starting to win games now after they're eliminated from the playoffs. Typical Falcons at times. The Jets able to defeat Miami 22-21. Le'Veon Bell, just stay home. Enough with bowling when you're calling in sick. And the Chargers were able to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 45-10. And those are the news and notes from this past week in the NFL. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll break down some college athletics in the great state of Georgia and the technical state of Georgia athletics here on the Sports Inquirer Show. All right, welcome back to the show. Marcel Portute here with you. Let's break down some of the bowl games that were announced over this past week. You look at the playoffs, pretty obvious choices when you look at the Final Four. LSU, the number 1 seed, won the SEC championship over Georgia. So they're obviously in the playoffs. Number 2 seed, Ohio State, able to make a comeback victory against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. So they are obvious selection. Clemson kept rolling, extended their winning streak to 28 games, and were able to win the ACC championship over Virginia. The 4th seed was the intriguing one for some coming in, but Oklahoma able to get an overtime victory over Baylor, gave them that 4th seed. Georgia, where all season we've seen their struggles, defense on offense, from Jake Fromm not being a consistent passer, and if you want to throw it on the inexperienced receivers, his maybe dealing with injury. I've seen some people come out with that, saying maybe he has some arm issues. The running backs just not being consistent enough between Johnny Swift and some of their other backs in the backfield. You add all that together, the offense just did not produce enough. Now, when you're facing teams like the LSU, you have to get at least 30 points. That's a given. So when you're not even able to get to 20 points in several contests on the season against inferior opponents, that's not going to help the cause at all. So coming into that game, you're down 17-3. In the first half, it's a wrap, game over. But they do end up facing Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. The rest of the Big Six bowl matchups, Rose Bowl's Oregon and Wisconsin. The Orange is Virginia and Florida. And Memphis is going to face Penn State. So that's an interesting breakdown of all of those contests. And let's see, heading down the line, Georgia Tech is not bowl eligible, so they are going to be training in the offseason and moving on from there. The Georgia State Panthers, and we'll have some stuff with them as well coming up over the next few weeks. They are going bowling. They are going to be in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. I'm looking it up so I make sure I get the sponsor in there. But yeah, they'll be playing the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl on December 31st, New Year's Eve in Tucson, Arizona. And they get to face Mountain West opponent Wyoming. So we're heading down to practice and doing that. So the Panthers are going bowling for the 3rd time in 5 years, I want to say, or 4 years. No, 3rd bowl appearance in the last 5 years, yes. So they've been to the Cure Bowl 2 previous times, heading into the postseason, but now they get to head to Arizona and participate in that contest. So a very big moment for Coach Sean Elliott, and the rest of the Georgia State Panthers. So make sure you check the site out and make sure everything is going on there. Still in other postseason action is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in volleyball. They missed out on the NCAA Tournament despite putting together a 21-8 record, or 14-4 in the ACC in the regular season, but they were not selected into the NCAA Tournament. So a lot of disappointment in the Yellow Jackets nation, but they are currently in the NIVC tournament, and we'll touch on that in a moment. But we were able to head down to practice and speak with Coach Michelle Collier about not being selected for the NCAAs and the team dealing with that disappointment.
I think we were definitely disappointed. We respect the committee's decision, but we also know the way we were playing, the level of volleyball that we were playing, and we still feel like we were deserving of an opportunity to compete at that level for the things that we did throughout the season. But some of that stuff is outside of our control. I felt like we really tried to maximize the things that we could control as much as possible, especially towards the end of the year. And we did some great things, and just some things happened that Saturday. I felt that kind of hurt some of the bubble teams that were in there, but I think for us it's a lesson learned. Obviously, our goal is to control our destiny a little more, so not to be in a position where we're in the mercy of a committee to decide whether or not we make it to the tournament. So we learned a lot from it, but we were not letting it hold us down for too long. I mean, obviously we were upset that Sunday night, but I think that we hit the gym back on Tuesday and we're ready to compete and keep moving forward. And I think that we trust on the things that we're doing here. We see it every day. We've seen it with all the ACC recognition and how we finished in our conference and how we competed all year, not only winning, but felt like we dominated a lot of the people that we played. And so we definitely know that we're playing some good volleyball, and that we're going to be a great program in the future and continue to get better.
I was following watching it like everyone else, and social media. First, you have a very passionate fan base.
Good job. Thank you.
Yeah, they're very questioning just the process and the selections, how it goes. but I also didn't see really, I don't say negativity, but not much criticism from the players or from yourself or things like that. So how does that say about the team that you got a negative news?
We're respectful of their decision, whether we agree with it or not. I mean, we have to respect it, and we got to continue to do our things regardless. We believe in the vision of our program. We believe in the volleyball that we're playing. We believe in the things that we're doing, and I think that we just got to continue to show that with our actions. There's not too much we can control. I feel like basketball and some other sports have gone beyond the RPI and have, kind of looked at selections and looked at their tournament. And I hope volleyball continues to be forward-thinking with that, and they're really analyzing their way of deciding things and making sure that they get the best teams that are playing the best volleyball into the tournament. And obviously, there are some great teams in the tournament, very well deserving. So it's hard to say that the teams that are there didn't deserve to be there. They all did, but so did we. So I think it's a learning opportunity on how we make ourselves better. But it's reassuring that we can be there. It's reassuring that the things that we're doing are working, that we're playing some good volleyball. And so we are going to continue to control our controllables and be respectful of the sport and all the other opponents that are there. And I mean, we hope for a great tournament. And, we got the NIVC now that we're going to compete in and really continue to just get better and enjoy playing at O'Keefe.
And that was Coach Michelle Collier talking about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets not making the NCAA Tournament and now heading on to the NIVC. And they've been able to defeat Alabama A&M and Liberty and are currently Alabama A&M and Troy. And now they're going to be in the quarterfinals. And they don't have the opponent yet. I'll look it up right now. But it's going to be on... Well, they don't even have a date set up for it, so I take that back. But they're able to defeat the Flames of Liberty in the quarterfinals. They're in the semis, yes. They're in the semifinals, and they're going to face the winner of Colgate or TCU in the semifinals. Location and date are not yet determined, so keep a track of that. But also they had a lot of ACC honorees. Maddie McKissick, the setter of the year. Julia Bergman, the freshman of the year. Cody Comby, Mariana Brambilla, Kayla Kaiser, and Michaela Dowd were all named all-conference. Head to our site, and not only to get the exclusive interview with Michelle Collier that you heard a part of there, they also were able to speak with Maddie McKissick and with Cody Comby about their all-ACC honors. Make sure they head to the site and check that out. Georgia State basketball is also in full swing in the men's side, and they were able to win at Mercer 73-61 on December 7th, improving to 6-1 on the season. Damon Wilson and Corey Allen, each with 16 points in the road victory, were able to speak with head coach Rob Lanier about the victory and the season to date so far for the Panthers. Here is Coach Lanier.
I think we've been fairly consistent from a competitive standpoint. Our practice habits are improving, but we need to continue to improve as a practice team. I think we've got a competitive group, and we've been working pretty hard since the summer, and I think we've got a group of guys that are always eager to play. And I don't think they realize that so much of the games are won on the practice floor, and that's a learning experience that we're trying to develop.
Yeah, and how do you do that? Have you kept consistency with your schedule, or have you just seen maybe tweak some things as far as how you operate your practices or pregame since you've now been playing games over the past few weeks?
Yeah, we certainly try to develop a routine. I think kids respond well when they know what to expect. And then inside of that routine, we make adjustments according to the upcoming opponent.
Yeah.
And that was Coach Lanier talking to the team. We're talking about the team and just what they're trying to develop. Head to our site, as always, sportsinquirer.net, so you get the full interview with Coach Lanier. And that's going to conclude today's show. Thank you for listening to us today on December 11th, 2019. As always, want to follow everything that we're doing, head to Twitter and Instagram under Sports Inquirer. That's all one word. Go to Facebook under our two pages, The Sports Inquirer and Sports Inquirer. Finally, subscribe to us on YouTube and SoundCloud under The Sports Inquirer. And if you want to find out everything that we're doing, just go to the mothership, thesportsinquirer.net. Until next time, good fight and good night.